Hello everyone and welcome to Submachine 9 The Temple. This is the penultimate game in the series, and I'd say we just started off right away. So, did you travel too far? Or too early? This text stays on for way too long. Just saying. What if I told you? Neither. That would be amazing. That would just be wow. Okay, so that was the intro to this game. It's kind of underwhelming compared to some of the other intros, I think. But that's okay because the game is the game's great, basically. So we still have the hammer and this stethoscope thing from the 8th game, and we can actually still use this and switch layers. I never explained the thing that it says down here. It basically tells you which layer you're at, so if it's the first one that is a circle, then that means that you're on the first layer, and if it's the third one, then you're on the third layer. It's not that complicated. There you go. There's some stone tablets right here. The light of Shiva draw on Elizabeth to leave the lighthouse. I don't know how to pronounce this. I think it's the Buddhist god or something, or a Hinduist god. I'm sorry, I don't know anything about religion. Over here on the left you have a similar brass plate which tells us about Murtaugh. The light of Shiva draw on Murtaugh to live in the lighthouse. So Murtaugh lived in it, and Elizabeth left it. If we look over here, we can actually see that there's nothing much to see here, basically, right now, but on this stone block right here we have a symbol which is somewhat important. So I guess keep that in mind. As you can see here, Submachine 9 is kinda laggy, because some of the screens are too complicated, I think that's why. But, you know, I guess we'll live with it. If I played it on a very small resolution, then it wouldn't lag, but I kind of prefer it this way. Because it's not every screen anyway, and it'll get a lot better later. For example, right here, see, it's all normal, so that's wonderful. Over here, as in this weird area, I don't know what to call this, we find a brass jug, which is going to be very important for the rest of this game. And we find this, what's it called, a bowl. And we find a second bowl right in here. Can't do anything with those yet. So let's backtrack and actually fill our brass jug with this karmic water, as it's called, I think at least. Is it? Yes, there we go. I'm so amazing. Okay, so let's go back in there and fill this bowl with karmic water. And this actually gives us this weird glowy plant thing and a cogwheel. So it's probably not really a plant thing. You can do the same in here. And you can't do anything with this until you put the cogwheel in here, which gives us a lever. And this is the symbol that I was talking about before. So this actually corresponds to that brick in the wall before. And if we go there now, I wonder what this in the floor is. I really don't know why we ended up here. How do you end up here from that wooden door in the 8th game? Anyway, yeah, this stone brick has moved down, and now we can enter here, which is very exciting. As you can actually see, the temple is in the shape of a pyramid, and we're actually entering the temple now, and we won't be leaving it for the rest of the game again. And yeah, so there's always these diagonal walls, and if you actually connect all the rooms together, you can actually see that it does make the shape of a pyramid, which is quite interesting to me, I think. So yeah, I just pulled this thing to activate this ladder, which wasn't all that difficult, now was it? Let's take this brass scarab and actually put it right where it belongs right away, so that we don't have to walk as much. We get a pot of stone key from that. And if we head over here, then we can actually see another one of these bowls. We know what to do with these by now. That gives us another ladder to activate. And right here there's a chest which we can't open quite yet, but we'll take care of that later. And we find a second part of the stone key. And I think this is actually the first Submachine game where you can combine items in the inventory, so that gives us a stone key, which is beautiful. Moving down here we find a ladder rung, and you could try to fix up this ladder with it, but it would just basically dangle there and do nothing, and you wouldn't be able to pick it up again, which is very annoying, because you actually need this for a secret later. So let's hold on to it. So there's a dead end here, there's nothing much going on, except this plate on the wall, which gives us a small hint. You can look down here. It basically has 4 1s and then a 0 and then 2 1s again, which corresponds to what we have on this thing right here. So basically it's telling us that we're supposed to switch to the 5th layer, which we will. And if we do that, then we get this brass key, and we can put that right in there, and hooray, the wall goes away. I hate that wall. Okay, so we found another brass bowl, which we can use right here. Fill that up. And it gives us the ladder, so there was no point in even trying to mess with that ladder rung. So let's keep exploring. This is kind of confusing. This is the first time we're actually supposed to pour karmic water into a bowl that doesn't look like all the other bowls. I guess it's not that confusing. But we get this karmic seal from that. And here on the floor we find a chest key. And this plaque on the wall is actually quite interesting because it has 7 1s. Basically telling us that we're supposed to switch off all the layers, which makes no sense because we can't do that. Because I guess we could if there were an 8th button right here, then all the first 7 ones would be deactivated, but you know, we don't have one, so that's unfortunate. Yeah, let's take care of this right away, I guess. Less walking for us. It's right here, there we go. Let's open this chest with our chest key. And we get a brass tile. And these are actually quite reminiscent of Submachine 1. In that you're supposed to find 4 of them, and in that they have this quarter circle shape. Isn't it exciting? Let's move on. This here is actually also quite important, even though it doesn't look like it. And here we find the second brass tile. That's going to be very useful for us. And this is quite a laggy area again. It always seems to be the screen that you're actually going to, as opposed to the screen that you're coming from, that causes lag. Because I guess it has to load in all the graphics and like simulate it, and I'm assuming it just takes a picture of this screen and then moves it over to create that effect. I'm not entirely sure how it's done, but that's probably the way I do it. Right here we have a mechanism which we can't really do anything with, and you can't insert anything there or anything. But we have another one of these plaques on the wall which tells us that there's interesting stuff on layers 1, 4 and 7. So let's go to layer 1. And we see that there's this weird structure right here. And this is actually blue as opposed to the other ones that are green. And if you actually look at the green ones, then you can see that the green ones always exist on all of the layers. But this blue one only exists on one, so I guess that's the difference between the two. If we head on over to the 4th layer, we can actually see this thing here. And I can demonstrate this right away with the green stuff. If we switch to layer 1 now, then you can actually see that the green is still there, but the blue disappears when you switch to another layer. So let's complete this structure right here. Switch to the 4th layer, actually no, the first one. And now we can activate this. Which of course that raised that cage all the way over to the left, which we will look at later. Because over here on the right there's a statue which looks quite suspicious and doesn't really do much yet. But it probably will later. So over here on the left, yeah, this raised the grate, obviously. That's great. Ho ho ho. Ho 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 ho. Over here we can pick up a stone tablet from the floor, and you can probably guess where this goes, so let's put that there right away. That gives us a ladder, and access to the 4th brass tile, so that's wonderful. Alright, over here on the left, what do we find? Okay, so it's telling us to go to the 6th layer, let's do that. And here we can actually put all our tiles in, which is just the most fun. And we get a secret underground thing. And a lever handle here on the left. But I think before we go down there, let's actually explore over to the right. Because I just kinda want to. This is the laggiest screen in the entire game, if you were wondering. And we can't progress here, okay. So I guess we were supposed to immediately go down. Let's do that then. Nothing interesting on this screen really. But over to the left we can pick up this here, which is a stone eye. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with this thing. What is it? What even is that? Why does it have a stone eye in the middle? Why can't we pick it up? What was the artist thinking? When Murtaugh put his arm into the waterfall, he noticed that he no longer had an arm, but 7 of them. That was not something unexpectable. Yeah, absolutely not. What is a miracle, though, is that after he removed this arm from the water, he still could see all 7 layers of his left arm. Not long after that, he understood that focusing them all in one place created a portal. That was because all of his arms from all of the layers met at one place and caused the interdimensional karma flow at his fingertips. Alright then. So I guess now we know how he does it, somewhat. Heading over here we can find this strange spiral staircase structure here, which I guess isn't all that strange at all, because it's just a spiral staircase. But there's actually this bell right here, and it's quite important for one of the secrets, so let's bang that. And that's wonderful for us. Okay, so with this brass ball is actually important for moving on over here on the right side. Sorry. So you can put that in right there, and put karmic water in, and we get this beautiful ridge. How lovely. Alright. There's a missing plaque right here, which is actually important later. And this thing here is kind of weird. You can't really tell what you're supposed to do with that right away, at all. But we will, in time. And this plaque is broken beyond readability. I wonder, can you actually? No, you can't. Okay. Just wondering. Let's move on over to the right and actually finish exploring everything before we do anything. Right here you can see this rope going on up into nothing, and you can actually activate this with this lever handle right here, which you have to do. But yeah, I guess let's do it. Can't do this again, so this is actually something that is obviously good when you do it. But I just wanted to show off what it looks like before it, but it doesn't really matter all that much. This is the place where you're supposed to put the karmic seal on layer 2, I think I was at right now, right? Yes, okay. But obviously the karmic seal is green, so it stays in all the layers. Let's actually check all the layers right here for something else interesting. Here's another one, but we don't have anything to put in there. Anything that will go in there anyway. Not yet. And so yeah, that's this screen. Not much going on. There's the second bell. Let's hit that. And before we actually do anything, I'm gonna go back all the way and take care of the first secret. I guess this is kind of out of the way now, but you know, you'll live probably. Write a comment if you died while watching this. Yeah, there we go. So, because we hit both of those bells, we've actually given this statue some earrings. And right here in the head, this compartment opens up, and we can get our first secret. So that is very exciting. Nope, that's not where I'm going. There we go. Sorry if my mouse is too loud. I heard that in some of the other videos you can actually hear me clicking, which I don't know if that's annoying to you guys. I don't think it's that annoying, but some people do, and I guess I can understand that. So sorry about that, I guess. We've entered this kind of eerie area now with this very strange music. There's a statue here. I don't know what that is. And there's this mechanism right here, which is actually going to be important later, obviously. Grate on the floor, which is closed, can't do anything with that. And here we have a gate in front of us, and some kind of weird hole in the wall. Again, that's probably something that we'll take care of later. Murtaugh saw the cat changing the layer of reality, he falsely connected that event with Einstein's theory of relativity. That was because in those early days Murtaugh was just beginning to understand the structures of reality. During his intellectual growth he was able to come across the cat several times. He grew attached to the animal. When he asked Elizabeth to take care of the cat, she took him back to his appropriate dimension in the first layer. Let's go to the first layer and maybe we'll find Einstein. Spoilers, we won't. We pick up this ritual brass bowl, which we need way back, up there somewhere. We can head down this grate, and this screen right here is actually quite important. So remember this shape, especially the shape the room is in, because if we head down here, we can't actually do anything. But just keep the shape in mind. So we get a startling noise right there, because this is actually the tomb of Murtaugh. So I guess Murtaugh is actually dead already, which is kind of strange. Over here on the left we have a cow. Beautiful, right? On the right we find another weird jug thing, so let's pour some water in it, because that's what you're supposed to do with all the jugs in all the games and all everything, right? We get another comic seal. That's beautiful. Okay, so you can actually advance forward in this, which is unheard of in Submachine, except for the one in Submachine 2 or 4, I think it was 4, where you had that room which of 9 squares which you could rotate around. Let's head in here. That gives us a brass key again, which will be useful later. I think this is actually... No, never mind, it's not. It's not the top of the pyramid. I thought it was the top of the pyramid, but it's not. Nobody could predict that the Enlightenment would cause such destruction. Even Murtaugh himself didn't know what happened. He was already looking at all layers at once. He was already removed from one-dimensionality. To be back in only one layer, Murtaugh had to lose his focus. After he focused his mind back on the structure of the plan, his exploration teams didn't understand what happened. Some called it abandonment, others rapture. No wonder they panicked. They did not even have a philosophical device to comprehend the true nature of his disappearance. Yeah, I don't understand the story. I'm sorry. Very, very sorry. Murtaugh the Powerful, the caretaker, the overseer. Okay, so this seems to actually be Murtaugh's grave. We can open that with our stone eye, which I don't know how much sense that makes, but we find the golden seal of Murtaugh inside, which is very important. So we're done in this area for now. And now we can actually head over here to the very right and open that gate that was blocking our way before by use of our beautiful brass key.